I want to just speak about this calmly before I go too crazy. The Mavericks got Anthony Davis back. I feel like we can't just gloss over that. He's a defensive player of the year caliber type of player. He's an all NBA player. If you would have told me in 2019, Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, and Klay Thompson are your big three, I think that you can win a championship. I don't think I feel that way now. I think the Mavericks have a all-around very good team, and I think Anthony Davis does make them a serious playoff threat. I don't think that we can overlook a team that has Kyrie and Anthony Davis. I don't. And the question marks around the Mavericks was always, can they win with two guards, that being Luka and Kyrie, given the defensive deficiencies that comes with? I always thought that meant that you're going to have to find a way to part ways with Kyrie Irving, not Luca Dončić. The Mavericks are still going to be a good team, but one thing's for sure, and this where I'm going to go a little bit crazy. If Mark Cuban was still majority owner of the Mavericks, this trade doesn't happen.
No way.
Luca Dončić was going to be their franchise star. And part of me, now the reality sinking in that Luca Dončić is not going to be a Maverick lifer. He's not going to follow suit of the Dirk Nowitzkis of the world. It breaks my heart for Mavericks fans. This was the ultimate slap in the face to a generational franchise-altering player. Luca Dončić, let's just put this into perspective. Luca Dončić got traded before Joel Embiid. He got traded before Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Bucks, we know, don't have a chance. This Mavericks team was going to have a chance when Luka came back and was healthy. Luka Dončić just made the NBA Finals. He beat 3 50-plus win teams to get there. He led every single player in points, rebounds, and assists. He is a generational playoff performer. And the Mavericks traded him. There is no way you can convince the fan base that you have a better chance to win in the future without Luka Dončić on your team, and that you have a better chance to win now without Luka Dončić on your team. It's ridiculous. And the Lakers, a franchise that, I mean, my goodness, can they get any more luckier? LeBron James handpicked them. LeBron James was able to get Anthony Davis. Let's not even talk about the laundry list of historic players that have walked through the Lakers organization, from Kobe Bryant to Shaquille O'Neal to Jerry West, Wilt Chamberlain to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to Magic Johnson. Luka Dončić is now added to that lineage, to that history. I don't know how the Lakers do it. Just a couple weeks ago, just a week ago, we're talking about this team in no man's land. We don't know how their future is going to look. And JJ Redick gets a gift. Here's Luka Dončić. Here's the player you're going to build around. I'm wondering what the Lakers are going to do next. Are they going to try to trade LeBron James for some future assets?
Possible.
Are they going to try to play with Luka and LeBron this year? Because I don't think the team is good enough to win this year. But JJ Redick now has a player that he can build around. And I think that's all you can ask for. Like, I don't even know what went into the Mavericks thought process to even make this deal. The fact that they were the ones that called the Lakers and said, we're unhappy in our relationship, we want your guy, is ridiculous to me. I really can't believe it.
The only thing that can come into my mind is that Luka went to the front office and said, I don't want to be here long term. I don't want to be a Dallas Mavericks for the long term. And at minimum, he gave them that opportunity to go ahead and flip him for an amazing elite player in his own right, in Anthony Davis. Like you said, like everybody's going to say, the Mavericks did not get a bum. Far from. Anthony Davis is an amazing player in his own right. I think he will fit very nicely in Dallas. But this is malpractice. You do not trade a player of Luka Doncic's caliber. And I want to say this to everyone that ever shit-talked Rob Pelinka. Make sure the apology was as loud as the disrespect. You wanted him to make the move for AD. You said, give up all the pieces. Let's do it. Go ahead and let's get it done. You gave him slack, even though I'm very on record saying this was LeBron James. LeBron James wanted Russell Westbrook, but you guys pointed the finger at him, said, all right, Russell Westbrook, come on, come to the Lakers. You were mad at him for not pulling the trigger on Kyrie Irving. Now he went and got Luca Dončić and set up the Lakers franchise to be golden for a decade to come.
I'm just pissed off. I'm really just pissed off. And if you're a Mavericks fan, you should feel pissed off because like this is like the Bills trading Josh Allen. This is like the Ravens trading Lamar Jackson. This is like the Nuggets trading Nikola Jokic because he's a defensive liability. What the hell?
Can we also put the cherry on top with me and Mavs fans? Mavs fans, I won. I not only shit talked your favorite player, he's now on my team. And guess what? I love him now. I love him. I won't ever slander Luka Dončić ever again. You guys, I understand. We've had some great times. We've had some great back and forth. You guys thought you won last year when you made your finals run. I won. I have Luka now. The Los Angeles Lakers are going to have franchise changing, generational. What is it, Mr. Moran? A 6-time first team All-NBA? Is that what it is? On my team.
Should be an MVP already. Should be. So after the Anthony Davis trade, I'm looking at this Lakers roster. Austin Reeves, Luka Dončić, Rui Hachimura, LeBron James, Jackson Hayes, DFS. This is a terrible roster. Can we just get that straight? Like, I think the number one thing that we have to mention is that the Lakers, I don't think, are close to competing for a championship right now.
I agree with this. I'm not going to disagree. I don't think this Lakers roster is great. You have LeBron James, you have Luka Dončić, you have Austin Reeves, DFS, Rui. It gets really muddy when we start talking about the front court. It's a bad team. We don't have any bigs. Anthony Davis we were already talking about how thin we were in the front court when we had AD. Now we don't have AD. It is terrible. I'm interested to see if this is it. I'm okay if that's the case. I'm okay if we're just going to punt this season. We're just going to see where LeBron and Luka can take us, and then we adjust accordingly in the draft or in this offseason. I want to also say we got Luka Dončić. I don't want to sound harshly when I say for nothing, but Anthony Davis and Luka Dončić, you swap that 10 times out of 10. You do that every day of the week. Max Christie, the win here is that the Lakers were able to move off Jalen Hood-Schifino. That is also a win that we're not going to talk about, but Lakers fans are rejoicing. We don't have to worry about the development and or just the player as a whole of Jalen Hood-Schifino. And a 2029 first-round pick, it's a no-brainer. The Lakers got Luka essentially for free.
I think losing Max Christie isn't nothing. Obviously, it's Luka Dončić.
I'm not going to disagree.
Yeah, but
he's been playing good
I'll just say this. It is Anthony Davis. And here's where it's like, I know Mavericks fans are heartbroken right now. I ought to be heartbroken too. I'm heartbroken just thinking about it because I like the Mavericks because Luka Dončić is one of my favorite players. That's like if Anthony Edwards got traded from the Timberwolves. I'd be heartbroken for them.
Joel, what are you to be upset about? You can still love Luka.
I do love Luka still.
Come on, baby.
I do love Luka. I don't have any hatred for the Lakers. But to kind of put my thoughts in perspective a little bit, I think the Lakers, they're going to have to get a lot of things right to build a team around Luka to compete. It's Luka, so it's not going to be that difficult.
I was going to say, Mavs really didn't make that many great moves.
You make a couple good moves, and the Lakers should be back in contention because they have Luka Dončić. But I don't think the Mavericks suck. And this is where I know Mavericks fans are really annoyed and they're mad at the fact that they don't have Luka Dončić anymore. How many teams in the West with this Mavericks team do you think can beat them in a series?
Honestly, OKC, it's getting muddy now because...
Is it just OKC? I think it's just OKC that I'm like, yeah, I think they beat Dallas in a series.
The Nuggets, you still have to respect. I know they're not this amazing, well-rounded team, especially because the uncertainty of Jamal Murray. But Jokic has shown does not matter unless it's Joel Embiid, which we don't have to worry about because he never plays against Jokic. There's nobody that can match up with him.
But
And
if
I respect
AD,
Lively. I respect Gafford. And I respect Anthony Davis. I love Anthony
but
Davis.
if you have Anthony Davis guarding
With backside
Jokic
help.
and backside, and you have
Yeah.
Gafford or Lively,
Yeah.
like the way I'm looking at this Mavericks team, and I know a lot of Mavericks fans are in the heat of the moment, and a lot of NBA fans are in the heat of the moment because it's like, oh, Lakers finally they get another star. They always do this, but like I said earlier, Kyrie, Clay, PJ, Najee, AD, Gafford, Lively, Max Christie now, Quentin Grimes. Am I missing somebody else? There's probably a couple more depth
Spencer
players that I'm
Dinwiddie.
missing.
I don't know if you said
Yeah,
him.
Spencer Dinwiddie, he's like whatever. He's
Been playing some
what he is.
decent ball.
But I'm looking at the Mavericks team, and Kyrie Irving isn't going to drop off from this year to the next. I think Kyrie Irving still has 2 to 3 years left of high level basketball. I think Anthony Davis is in the same realm. I think he has 3 to 4 years left of all NBA caliber
Of his
play.
peak. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think the Mavericks, they are going to be a contender in the West. Like, as much as Luca Dončić meant to the Mavericks, after the NBA Finals happened, the narrative on Luka was that you couldn't win a championship with him because of the defensive deficiencies. And this year he got hurt because he's been nursing an injury and his body kind of just collapsed on him this year. But there was reports that the Mavericks were a little bit worried about his conditioning. And that's also been something that's been that people have been talking about, which is Luka's conditioning. So maybe the Mavericks here are just saying, listen, we think that this championship can contend for this team can contend for a championship. And if Luka Dončić hadn't gotten hurt, I think the Mavericks would be a top 3 seed right now. I think with the addition of Anthony Davis, if he doesn't get hurt, they could climb up and be one of the 4 best teams in the West and have a great record.
I'm not going to disagree with this at all. Anthony Davis makes them, which they already were, one of the best defensive teams. We could be talking about them in the same breath as Oklahoma City, but I'll be transparent with you. This move for the Dallas Mavericks makes me think even more so that they're going to go out and trade for a Cam from OKC.
That Dallas is trading for Cam Johnson, or that the Lakers are?
That if I'm Oklahoma City,
yeah,
it now became even more imperative for me to go out and get Cam Johnson. My one weakness is having another offensive guy. If I go out there and get Cam Johnson, that kind of solidifies that for us there. This move now becomes an essential piece for OKC, who understand we're not only one of the best defensive teams, we're the best defensive team in basketball right now, but we need another guy on offense that can go in there and get a bucket. And right now, if this is going to be the team that's going to be in our way, a team that already has shown, even though it is Luca Dončić, he didn't play his best series at all against Oklahoma City. But now with Anthony Davis, who solidifies them as one of the best defenses in basketball, for people that had a question about Anthony Davis's defense, why he can't anchor one of the top 5, one of the top 10 defenses in basketball, prepare. Get ready to realize what Anthony Davis can do when he actually has help around him. PJ Washington, Najee Marshall when he gets back, the backline defense in the front court as well with Lively and Gafford when Lively does return from injury. This team is going to be a great team, an amazing team. They are still legitimate contenders, but this is a franchise-altering move by moving off of Luca Dončić, who has raised their ceiling tremendously, and you see how much he impacts them when he's off the floor and how they are not a top 6, top 7 team while he's been injured.
Yeah. What's the craziest thing that you think can happen from this trade? What's the craziest outcome?
Devin Booker getting traded now for a crazy bag. I just think that this is just a league-altering move. This is one of the craziest, if not the craziest, mid-season trades in the history of basketball. I can't believe that we're actually here talking about Luka Dončić being traded, like you said, and like everybody's going to have the same sentiment. You don't trade a player like Luka. You get 2-3 of those for a decade to come. We have Jokic. We have Wemby. You respect Giannis, but we've thought that he was going to get traded over these last couple of years, seeming that he's been unhappy. So that's kind of one that we've been on the fence about. But Luka never came to mind, and us believing he was going to get traded. This can shake the league. This was a 2K-esque trade, and I would not be surprised if Phoenix just decides, you know what? Let's get a bag for Devin Booker. Let's trade Kevin Durant. We're not going to win anything. Let's go and let's get our picks back. Let's go and try and build for the future. This could shake up how we look at the rest of the season tremendously for so many other teams.
My affinity for the Mavericks isn't the same as it once was because now Luka's not on the team. I think the craziest outcome is that the Mavericks end up going to the NBA Finals after making the trade. I think that's the craziest outcome. I think that would validate Nico Harrison's decision somewhat. Even if I don't think it was a smart move for Nico Harrison to trade Luca Dončić, and time will tell if this was the stupidest move or a good move or a very smart move. Nico Harrison, it took a lot of guts and balls to trade Luka Dončić, and that's where I will give him credit because I don't think this was one of those trades where you trade Luka for a treasure chest of draft picks and you're just shooting in the dark. You're just shooting darts to see if you hit on some guys. He landed Anthony Davis, and I don't think that that can be forgotten in this. And I think he just has a belief that Anthony Davis, his defense and his offensive ability with Kyrie Irving's offensive ability and role players around them, I think that can win a championship. Now, I think the obvious concerns are we don't trust Kyrie Irving as a lead ball handler in consecutive playoff series to get it done. I think that's the number one concern that we have, but I think that would be the craziest outcome for the Mavericks, and time will tell. I think even after LeBron were to retire, I've tried to build franchises with the Lakers before and with Anthony Davis, and it seems like they kind of get stuck in no man's land because the assets aren't quite there. So I'm interested to see how they build around Luka Dončić. I think that's the toughest thing. This is one of those deals that we're saying the Lakers automatically won because they got Luka and he's 25 and he's a superstar. But the better team right now today is the Mavericks.